So before starting, let me give you a small intro of mine. So I'm Manish Soni and I'm working as a senior cloud engineer into the Presidio, and it's around 5 years when I started from into the IT industry. I started with the DevOps and AWS, and I also hold some associate level and professional certificates into the AWS. So let's start with the AWS networking. So before starting, I will tell you something like the networking is the basics of any cloud. Like if you are working in any cloud, let me just check. My voice is coming right. Yeah. Okay. So the networking is the basic of any cloud. Like if you are starting any of the cloud, the first thing you need to go with the networking, because onto the networking alone you can build the other infrastructure. Let's suppose you need to host your all the applications, right? So for hosting your application, first you need to build a network, and on the top of the network you need to put other of your workloads. Okay. So here we have the this is our agenda. So we have cover AWS VPC, subnets, routables, and internet gateway and net gateway, and then we will go for the security groups and NACLs. Okay. So yeah, once again, once again. Yes, sorry for the interruption. Yeah. Now I think all is fine. So this agenda is like we will go with the AWS network services. So VPC is the main AWS network service, and from the VPC we can create a virtual cloud network and complete into the cloud infrastructure. So before going into the cloud thing, I want to know you like when all our applications and workloads into the on-premise, like in the legacy days, like maybe into your school, in your college, if they have their complete infra into their computer room or server room, so how they will manage? So what they will do, they have buy some physical routers and switches. Maybe you see in your organization or school colleges, and they have the LAN cables, different LAN cables, right? So with the help of those cables, they will connect different type of routers, switches, right? And they have different kind of Cisco boxes. Okay. And they have one server room, and from there they are managing everything, and from them maybe they have like multiple labs, and all the networking is going to the multiple labs here. Okay. So now if we now the question is like how we need to create the exact same infrastructure into the cloud. Okay. So one second. Yeah. So for creating the complete infrastructure into the AWS cloud, we need to use a AWS specific service. So AWS created a service called VPC. So now let's take a look about the VPC. So VPC is a virtual private network, or we can say like virtual private cloud. So into the if you go into the Azure cloud, they have also like VNet, and different clouds has the different service name, but the concept is very similar. And this virtual private network is like something, it will have, it is a virtual network that will completely create a same infrastructure that you have in your on premise or you on your data centers. Okay. So one thing like in the backend, what's happening like in the backend, this VPCs and this network is creating into the AWS infra, and all those things you can directly manage from the console. So here also you will get the same type of options like routing tables, like how you can connect multiple networks and how you can access the different resources. So this is a simple VPC. So VPC, you can understand this is something like a main network. And now from the main network, you need to divide this network to multiple availability zones. Okay. So we can create a different kind of subnets there. So subnets is something when we try to uh, like adding and distributing completely this network. Okay. So just checking the chat, but there is no. So this is something like a different type of network we need to create. The different departments we need to allocate a different network, then we can create a subnet. So we will also go with the demo, so you will also understand better like how this complete network is working in the live environment. But before it, let's discuss about the subnets. So first thing, we have created the VPC. Okay, so how to create VPC, I will tell you like what is the process of creating the VPC. And with this VPC we can divide it into the multiple subnets. So you can see there is one type of IP type of thing is written. It is called like a cider block. Okay, so it's something like 10.0.0.0/16. Okay, so this is the we can call it as cider, and it includes complete ranges. Okay, so it means like how many IPs we need to allocate. So these all are the private IPs, and we need to allocate some of the IPs to this public subnet and some of the IPs from this private subnet. So you can see here we have took a cider of 16, and from there we are just dividing it from the like the small chunk is like 24 and like this 24. So I will also tell you like how you can divide these things, how you can perform these type of calculations easily. So currently you might seems like this very complex thing, but it's not the complex thing, it is also a very easy. And before going with the core networking, like you should know about the simple terms of the networking, like what is the IP, like internet protocol. So if I say like in your all computers you have connected with the internet that has some modem or some Wi-Fi routers, and they will give you some of the IP. Okay, so those are the IPs, and those IPs when we launch any instance and any resources into the cloud, these IPs will be attached to that particular instance and we can easily access to it. Okay, and we have also something called a internet gateway. We will see this internet gateway in the next some of the slides. But internet gateway is something like you can assume like your modem or your Wi-Fi router. So it will connect your cloud network to the outer internet. So after connecting with the internet, you will internet gateway, you will get the internet in your resources. Okay, and here you can see one more term called the availability zone. If you are already familiar with the AWS infrastructure, then you know about availability zone, but I will describe it. Availability zone is the single data center where your resources are going to create. So AWS has different regions, and into the regions we have a different type of availability zone. There they have created their data center, and their complete your infrastructure will be gone there. Okay, so this is a subnet. You can read a simple definition of it. Okay, so now you can see this diagram. So into this diagram, what's happening? This is your local computer. It will go to the internet gateway, and there is we will put some router. So in the on premise or into the your data center or server room, we have called like a router, and from that we can distribute the network among different computers.
Hello.
Hello, yeah. Any any question, anything? Oh, PPT is not changing. Okay, okay, okay. Wait. Okay, now currently I am onto the route tables PPT. Can someone confirm like it is? You can able to see this one. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. So before it, I am talking about this subnet PPT. So I think you got it. Okay. So I was talking about this particular image. So into this image we have some called the internet gateway and some router. So this router is something called a route tables. So we will create a virtual route tables into the cloud, and that will further going to create attach to different public subnets and the private subnets. Okay, so now let me go to the route table. So currently I'm just doing this theoretical thing. So once we have the terms are clear, then we will go for the demo. Okay. So route tables are something we are seeing into the server rooms. Like we have a different type of routers and the switches, and we have some LAN cables. Okay. So manually, how we are edit, like we are connected each router with some switches and some different routers. Okay, the same thing we need to perform into the AWS. So for doing this, so AWS created something called the route tables. There we can easily define like how to which network we need to create it, and which type of internet gateway do we want to attach to it and all. Okay, so this is just type of router of cloud. Okay, here you can see into this image we have something called a router, and all those subnets are connected to the router, and we have something route table A and route table B. So we can create a multiple route table, we can restrict the route tables and all. Now I have talked about the internet gateway. Now we have some other stuffs as well, like internet gateway and the net gateways. So internet gateway, we all know internet gateway is something that will give you the internet. So this is the VPC component that will allow the communication between your VPC, your cloud infrastructure, with the outer internet. Okay, but sometimes what happen, like we need to create a database. Okay, and database is something like an entity that should be keep it to the private, like outer internet can't access it. Okay, so we need to restrict this particular database and other stuff. So we need to create a net gateway. Net gateway is its full form is network address translation. So what happened, this net gateway will be translate your private traffic to the public traffic. Now the thing is, into any resources or anything, we need to install some softwares. Okay, for installing software we need the internet, but the real application didn't need the internet. Like database didn't need the internet, but the database instance need the internet. Okay, so in that case what we can do, we can create a net gateway and uh, attach it to private subnet, and whatever resources we are putting here, that will not get the public IP. So we have two stuff like public IP and the private IPs. Okay, so if we have only private IP, then we can't access it from the local. Like I can't access anything from my computer if something is into the cloud and that is into the completely private. Okay, so this is called a net gateway, and we will see how to create a net gateway into the further session, like how you will create a basic infrastructure of network. And before it, we have something called a security group and the NACL. So this will also I will tell you when we go first for the demo, and again we will come here. So you will also see how things are working into the AWS, and then we will more talk about the security group and the network access control list. Okay, so let me just switch back to one second. Yeah. Okay, we have one question from the Panushree. Yeah. So what is the route table and its uses? So as I mentioned, like route tables are the exact replica of your routers. Okay, whatever routers you have into your legacy systems or your on-premise, and these route tables we can create some different type of entries, like what type of IP we need to allow in our AWS network. Okay, so in this world we have a very, we need to keep our AWS infrastructure very secure. Okay, so for securing our infrastructure, we need to create a restrict route tables, and only we can allow the trusted IPs. Okay, we don't need to allow everything from outer world. Okay, so I will more expand the route table into the console. So before it, so if you have a AWS account already, then you can go to the VP service. I am already into the VPC, but I am just showing you how you can go into the VPC. Just you need to search onto the VPC. This is the basic AWS console, and okay, so you can able to see my AWS console now, right? So this is the VPC dashboard. Okay, so setup of the VPC is very easy. Like you can create a one-time setup with easily, but you can see there are a lot of options. Okay, so here you can see VPC, subnet we talked about, route tables, internet gateway, and if you come below, there are something called a net gateways and peering connections. Okay, but there are a lot of things, but we are not going to cover everything into this session because this is very high level, like it is also very advanced level of networking. But when you are creating any infrastructure into the AWS, you should know about the basics, and basics will be come with VPC, subnets, route tables, internet gateway, and net gateways, and then we will cover NACL and security groups. So that will completely cover your AWS networking. Okay, so let me go into the VPC. So if you all open your VPC console, maybe later, so you will see one VPC there, and this VPC is completely default VPC. So if I select it, you will see here default VPC. Yes. So AWS, when we create an account onto the AWS, the fresh account, at that time AWS also provide us a one default VPC infrastructure. You can also use this particular VPC, or what you can do, you can create your own network there. And into the your own network, we have the good type of flexibility. We can restrict the IPs, we can restrict the other stuffs here. Okay, so let me just quickly create a VPC. So here you can see a name called a create VPC, and AWS created a very good GUI for the VPC, and you can create everything from one console. Like here you can see just VPC only, but we don't need to create just VPC. We also need to create a route tables. We need to create a public subnets and everything. Okay, so always go with the VPC and more. Okay, into the VPC and more, you will see a preview here. Okay, so currently it has some of the details are already written here. Okay, but we will go one by one to each and every detail, and here we can see the complete diagram, like what has been created. Okay, now I am giving the name to test. Okay, any name we can give. If you are creating a VPC for your project, a specific project, so you can put your project name here. Like I put it the test, and it already append the VPC to here. Okay, so it will automatically append the VPC and resource name there. And now thing is the cider block. Okay, so I am also opening one more website here, calculator. Okay, so we have a simple websites. From there we can also calculate the cider and all. Okay, okay, this is the cider, and any type of you can use this. Okay, and if you also read more about the cider, you can also open. They will also provide completely, and it is something like a class-based routing. So if you read the deep into the networking, you will see we have a different kind of networking ranges, and it will come from the class A, class B, class C, class D, and the broadcast IP and gateway IP. So it is something like a classless inter-domain routing, and here we have a different kind of classes here. Okay, as I mentioned, like A, B, C, D, E, and we have a different kind of IPs are assigned. So this is very complex, and we need to read it about it. But if you are already from the IT background, you maybe learned it about into the computer network subject, or if you are not, then you can leave it. If you are just learning from the AWS, okay, then you can go directly. Let me open the VPC again. Someone wants to speak. I can hear some voices. Can you please mute yourself? Yeah, please mute yourself and switch off your video. Okay. So yeah, so here we have, you can see we have chosen the cider IP here. So we have choose one IP, and there we can append the 16. And you can see here numbers of the IPs it have like 65,000 IPs it have. Now let me change the here cider to 24, and here you can see we have only 256 IPs. So whatever network you are creating, that has the only 256 IP. So better if you are creating a larger AWS infrastructure, then always choose the 16. So you have a lots of IPs, but you are creating a restricted infrastructure, like you have a minimal resources there. Then you can create a small IP ranges. Okay. Now, second thing will be IPv6. So do we want the IPv6? But currently we don't need the IPv6, so we can leave it. Now, as I mentioned about the availability zones, so availability zones are the data centers of the AWS. So whichever region you are choosing, so I am currently into the North Virginia region. Okay, here if you click here, it is the US East one, and into the particular region we have a different kind of availability zone. So here we have a three availability zones total, but currently we are creating the stuff into the two availability zones. Okay, and we can also customize it. What are the availability zones we need to create? Like we have a six availability zones we have, but we can divide it into the what are the availability zones we need. Okay, so better if you don't have a larger AWS infrastructure, then you can create a small availability zone. Okay, now it is asking two questions: number of public subnets and number of private subnets. So I am choosing the public subnet is 2 and private subnets are also 2. Now question is how we will define like what is the public and what is the private. So as I mentioned earlier, into the internet gateway and the net gateway. So what will be the subnet as a public? We need to attach an internet gateway to it, and if subnet is private, we have two options there. We can attach the net gateway there, or we can leave it. So if you leave completely the private gateway, private net gateway into the private subnet, that is also okay. And one thing, if you choose to create a net gateway, it will start charging. Like if you are creating in your AWS account, so I say don't create the net gateway because it will start costing. But for me, like I'm just for demo purpose, I'm creating net gateway. But for you, but don't create it. So I'm just creating one net gateway here, and endpoints we don't need it. And always enable this DNS hostname and the DNS resolution, so it will automatically resolve your what is the DNS of your particular resources. Okay, now before creating it, we can see this diagram. Okay, so here we have the test VPC. We have created into two availability zones: US East 1, US East B 1B. Okay, and we have the two public subnets. Okay, public and one private. So in each availability zone, we are creating one public, one private, one public, one private. Okay, so here you can see this public subnet is attached to one public route table, and this private is attached to one private route table. So it also created a two different private route tables, so we can customize it as per our need. And into one, it is also attached the net gateway for the private, and into the public it attached the internet gateway. Okay, so this flow diagram is okay, and we can just click and it will create. Here you can see it will give you each and every step how it is creating, and it will create. So here you can see some steps like associating route table. So it will automatically associate the route table, and this net gateway will take some time. So it will take some time while creating this net gateway. So let me open the duplicate tab and show you how it looks like. Currently our infrastructure is into the creation mode, but VPC is created. So test VPC we have created here. Okay, and here you can see something called a resource map. So click here and you will see the same diagram here, how it is connected to each and everything. Then we have the siders. We have the we can attach, we can edit this sider. Also we can attach one more sider if we need the more IP ranges. Okay, these flow logs are something like whatever traffic is going from your VPC, this will be logged. So this is for the logging perspective. Currently we don't need, but if AWS infrastructure is very big, we might use the flow logs as well. And it will also some integration for the monitoring purpose. Okay, so this is the VPC, and now let me check. It will take some time for creating the net gateway, but we can check the subnets here. So what I can do, I can just copy this VPC ID, and here we have an option called filter by VPC. Okay, so just click here. Okay, we already get the filter with our VPC. So every resources you will see in our VPC only. Okay, now I'm going into the subnet, and as we check, we have the four subnets. Okay, public one, public two, and private one, private two. Okay, now let me select anyone and go to the route table. Now your concept for the route table will be clear from here. If I select the route table here, it will give me the route table IP, sorry, ID. So here you can see we have two routes. One is for the local. Local means the local VPC. So every resources you will create, they will talk to each other into the same VPC. So this is the one. And the second route, it will automatically add the internet gateway, because we mentioned. Now we can also have the option to add different routes here. So I'm giving you one example. So we can just edit it, and click onto the, okay, routes. We go to the routes, and we have the option for the edit routes. Okay, so you can add any cider block here. Let's suppose I want to add some different ciders for one of my random servers. Maybe suppose this is my on-premise IP, and they want to actually access my AWS infrastructure. So we can add something here. Okay, and here we can choose any, because this is also a very different kind of stuff. So but I am just choosing the local only. Okay, and we can just create it. So it will, okay, one gateway ID, internet gateway. Okay, it will also creating. We can go to back, because it also need to create different kind of network interfaces, because this is not created. That's why we are not able to create, because if you want to allow any other network, we need to create a transit gateway or peering connection here. But let me try with the net gateway, and it's also into the creation phase. Okay, so I just assigned a net gateway to some different kind of cider. So this is just for example, this will not gonna work, so we can also delete it. But how route table will be work is like we can attach different type of routes into the route table. So it is the main stuff to your outer world, to your VPC. Okay, and now let us check it's created or not. Now you can see everything has been created. Now you can go to the different kind of stuff now. So this is the public subnet. Now if I go to the private subnet, you will see the, into the route table, you can see there is nothing has been attached to here. So this is completely stuff like, if we can't attach anything to here, that means it's private one. Like we are not attaching any internet gateway to here. But maybe we can also attach the net gateway. So if it's into the private, we can easily attach one more net gateway to it. Let me open the route table, and there is the route table. So create route table, and we can not creating route table actually. I am going into the private route table, and here you can see into the route table we have already this net gateway has been attached. So it's not shown here. Let me reload here. Okay, yeah, so net gateway is attached to private route table, and internet gateway attached to public route table. Okay, so this is for the subnets. Now I am not filtering, so it is also showing for the default VPC. But if you want to filter with the our VPC, you can just use this one. And we already discussed about the route table. So one route table is the main route table, and other route tables you can create multiple route tables, anything. Okay, Now we already talked about the internet gateway. So internet gateway, we just need to create it from the VPC, so it can provide the internet to our resources. And then we have the net gateways, and net gateway is something like if you want to provide some internet to our resources, that has to be into the private subnets. So you can see one public IP is assigned to it, and if you are just practicing in your local, don't create the net gateway because it will cost you. Okay, but if you are into the project, there you need to create the net gateway, you can easily create it. Okay, and now we can come into the network ACL and the security groups. Okay, so first I will talk about the network ACL. Network ACL means network access control list. So from here also you can define some rules, and you can block and you can allow some of the traffic. So here you can see all traffic is allowed. So network ACL is like stateless, like whatever you are assigning into the inbound, that will not automatically reflect into the outbound. And what type of things we need to assign? We need to assign the protocol. So let me give you one example. Let me add a one rule, and it will also work like a rule. Like it will first check onto the rule number 100. If it's denied, then it will go for the rule number 99, and then into the decreasing order. Okay, now we need to check for the different protocol. So this is also a different thing. Like if you are not aware about the basic networking, then you might know about the different type of protocols, but definitely you know about something called a HTTP and HTTPS. Like you already seen websites, we have the HTTPS written and some HTTPs written, so they are the different type of ports. So these ports we can allow some of the IPs, or we can allow from here. So let me just choose this HTTP, and into the HTTP port I just want to assign it from my particular IP or any IP. So I can write it like 10.23.43. uh, slash 32. If you put 32 means single IP. So this is the complete block has been called as a cider, and if you put the 32 here, and this block is called as a IP. So this is the single IP, and it will allow only this IP for a particular port. So let me do the save changes, and here you can see you need to define here. Now if you also want to define the outbound traffic, you can also add it. So let me just give you one brief about what is the inbound and what is the outbound. So inbound is the incoming traffic to your resource, and outbound traffic is the traffic that is going from your instance to outer world. Okay, so whenever you are requested any thing, or you are searching onto the any web, you will see put different type of talks, like how network is flow. First it will contact to your instance or your workload, and then it will take the answer from there, and again you will receive the answer or any acknowledgement. Okay, so this is called the inbound and outbound rules, and we will see the difference. So first let me talk about the security groups as well. So in the basic, if you want to check like what are those two services. So if you heard about one thing called a firewall, maybe if you have a Windows laptops or any other laptops, you have a inbuilt firewall also coming, like Windows firewall and anything. Or maybe if you are in your college and your particular organization, you will see a complete firewall there. They have a firewall devices. So what happened, like maybe sometimes you heard like some websites and some IPs are blocked for some particular websites, like for particular offices and or something. So there what they will do, they will use these firewalls rules, and these firewall rules will be going to block the particular IPs and all. Okay, so this security group is also the same thing, and it will also from here you can also uh, like allow rules for the inbound and the outbound rules. But the thing, the main key difference here is like from the security group, if you are allowing something into the inbound, you don't need to go to outbound and allow the same thing. Like it will automatically reflect it. Okay, might be it will not show here, but you just need to allow anything. If I allow HTTP on a particular IP here, the outbound traffic is also gonna allowed here. So this might be seems like something like an advanced topic, but I'm not going to the advanced. Like it will be more complex. But onto the general perspective, I also give you the one thing like once this session has been completed, you can also go and read about more about these security group rules and the network ACLs. But onto the general level, this is something like a firewall, and we can let me go back to PPT, and here we can see a complete differences between security groups and the NACL. I will share these PPTs with you, so you will also see the completed differences. So one thing also, these security groups we can directly assign to different resources. Like into the AWS, we have EC2, RDS, Lambda. So there we can assign it. And something we need to block from the subnet level, like you want to block some traffic onto the subnet, or you want to allow the some traffic for the subnet, we can directly use the network access control list. Okay, so these are some differences, and here you can see these all things are doing for the defense of our AWS network. So if you are seeing like some network attack has been happened, so this VPC is the first source that will uh, just tackle the complete attack, and that will prepare complete the defense for your complete workload, your applications and all. So the security group is the first layer of the defense, and this network level, this NACL is the second level of the defense to your particular network. Okay, so I think that's it, and I have also include some of the links that you can visit later, and you can learn more about it. But onto the perspective, if you already have the AWS accounts, then you can just try to create the VPCs there and try to understand how you are creating it, and later we can launch the different type of instances. One thing I will show you like how to launch the resources here, right? So let me go to the EC2. I talked more about the EC2, and if you are not aware about the EC2, EC2 is just a virtual machine. So this virtual machine is something like a virtual machine that will come into your AWS, and it will serve as your local computer here into the AWS. Okay, so let me show you where this VPC gonna use. So let me just launch an instance. I will not launch completely, but I will show you it has the option. Okay, so every resource you will use into the AWS, like most of the resources has this network setting. So here you can easily edit it and convert it to our particular network. Test VPC, subnet you can choose. You can we have the option of auto assigning of the IP or not, so we can also enable it. Okay, and it also goes with the additional charges. Okay, so be careful with it, and we have complete options here. Into the security groups also it is asking. Okay, so the question is where to use this VPC. So it will use in different AWS services. Okay, so I'm not going to create it. It will also cost you the charges, so I tell you like don't do that. But if you want to try it, you can launch a simple instance into the free tier. Like it should be T2 micro only. Okay, and yeah, that's it for the networking perspective. Now I'm taking the questions, and also if you also want to go for a different type of if you want to go for the full detailed AWS courses, so then on to the IntrnForte you can check. We have the step by step courses there. Okay, let me just close the presentation, and there you can easily learn, and step by step you can go from the scratch. If you are also not from the computer background, like you are non-IT background, then what you can do, you can also still join the session, and still you can join the course, and from there you can easily get complete knowledge of all the AWS services that is required for your career. Okay, you can create the projects, you can mention those skills in your resume as well. That will help you to get a job. Okay, so that's it. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, you can ask. So I can see, but Mishre is being clear with your question. Yeah. And also, you can anytime contact to IntrnForte.com and you can reach out to me there. I will share the PPTs and all. So, yeah, so that's it. If you don't have any questions, then we can wrap up. So, yeah, yeah, you can subscribe and watch the YouTube playlist. You will get all the experts lessons there. Okay, yeah, thank you very much, guys, and thank you to give your time on to Sunday. Have a great day. Yeah, bye.